Welcome back, guys, to this week's episode of SPAR with the Brothers. We got to my right, I got my main man, Jay Blaze. Jay, how you feeling tonight?
If I was in, it better be two of me walking around here. The great things, I'm surrounded by ordinary men with extraordinary life experience and knowledge, so I'm ready to rock and roll.
Oh, well, thank you for that compliment. And to my far right, I have my main man, Castle King.
What's up,
Castle
my
King, how you doing today?
My brothers, que lo que mi gente, how we doing today? I'm blessed and highly favored, ready to get it in.
Amen.
Good. As always, I'm Coach O. We're going to dig right into sports this week and to talk a little bit about what's not going on in the sports world, which is anything. As you guys know, the coronavirus has brought the sports world and really the whole world to a screeching halt. Mm-hmm. But in particularly the sports genre, almost every sport has shut down except for the NFL. As this week, we're going to start a new segment or a new part of a segment called Clown Him or Crown Him.
Yes.
NFL Free Agency Edition. So I'll start with Jay Blaze. Out of this free agent frenzy that we've had here in the past few days, what would you say has surprised you the most? Who are you giving the crown to? Who are you putting the clown nose on?
All right, first of all, I'm going to start out with the clowns because I want to get them out of the way. And it's going to hurt me because I'm a big-time Dallas Cowboy fan, but this is it's hard to swallow. Yes, a Cowboy has to clown my boys, clown the Cowboys. Mm-hmm. This is ridiculous. We just overpaid for another guy who disappears in the middle of the season, i.e. Amari. I played 8 games and I'm out. Cooper gave him $100 million.
Wow.
Last year, we overpaid for Zeke Elliott, way too much money. And then the guy who's been Mr. Constant, Mr. Professional, we still don't want to pay the man.
You got him a franchise tag.
Listen, pay the man.
Show me the money.
He's actually earned $4 million in 4 years. You know how disrespectful that is based on his numbers?
Isn't like the other one performing?
Well, he's outperforming his contract big time. Mm-hmm. Hey, Dak, stay home until they give you a real contract. Wow. All right, stay home. And I'll pick another team for a year. And I've been a Cowboy fan since I've been walking. So I ain't going to tell you how old I am, but it's a long time. And then to break my heart, the team that I love to hate, the team that I disrespect, like when I get up in the morning, like talking to people without brushing your teeth. I am disrespect. I have to crown Tampa Bay, also known as TB12.
You want to crown them?
Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm going to crown those guys, man.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to say this, but I feel like they're going to go to at least the NFC Championship game. They started last year with 2 great coaches, Arians and Todd Bowles, one of the best defensive minds you'll ever run into. And guess what? Tom Brady's in the house.
Yeah.
And now Tom Brady's in the house with Godwin, and he's in there with Evans, and he's in there with Brate, and he's in there with O.J. Howard. And then guess what? We got people begging to come play with Tom Brady. At the end of their career, they'll take whatever. They will play for pennies right now.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Buccaneers who are also going to be hosting the Super Bowl, man. So crown the Buccaneers, clown my Cowboys. I can't show you the real thing I want to use, but God bless.
All right. Well, I appreciate that. Castle King, who do you have coming out of this NFL free agency? Who shocked you? Who did you like to see?
I mean, there's a lot of teams out there that are disappointing to certain say, but I mean, and Mr. Jay Blaze here, I mean, my team, the Giants, are overpaying for mediocrity.
Facts.
I don't even know what we're doing. I mean, we're overpaying everybody. We haven't improved in any way.
Jason Garrett.
Okay. Jason.
It's a good possibility that we might be just last.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, we got some good strikes, but I'm not with it there. But I think Tampa Bay has done a great job. Mm-hmm. I hate to say it, Brady, you guys going to have the cheater on there.
Ooh, shots.
I mean, the good thing, the coach ain't there, so he's the real cheater on there. I mean, the X factor, I think, is that Antonio Brown. I think that's going to be the X factor to come over there. I mean, the set of wide receivers you got, including him on there, would be
right.
So I'm going to be crowning Tampa Bay, unfortunately. Florida, though.
Well, yeah, I mean, I appreciated your comments. I'll go to me, of course. My crown has to go to my Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We bought the GOAT in. So bringing in Sir Brady is going to be an interesting addition. But I like what they've done around him. Mm-hmm. I like the fact that you have a healthy Jackson, or not Jackson, but Mike Evans coming back.
Amazing.
You got O.J. Howard, you got Cameron Brate. So they had the right pieces, but they the organization finally has structure in a leader in Bruce Arians.
Yeah.
They have solid coordinators in Leftwich and in Bowles on both sides of the ball. I thought bringing in Ndamukong Suh last year was a big help to the defense. Their defense actually kept them in games that Winston tried to throw them out of. I'm going to go a clown, though, to the Chicago Bears.
Talk to us nice.
The reality is that when you look at what they've done over the past 4 or 5 years, is they've kept on fumbling the ball, no pun intended. But you drafted Mitchell Trubisky. You watch Patrick Mahomes get drafted, win a Super Bowl. You watch Deshaun Watson take his team to the playoffs every single year that he's been healthy. Now you go out and you sign a hurt Nick Foles, and you paid him $80 million a year, or $80 million over the next 3 years. So when you see an organization make those types of mistakes, with no investments in the key position players, you have to wonder where you're talking about Chicago. You're talking about the third largest media market, second largest media market in the United States. You talk about a fan base that's rabid, that's dying for a championship, the monsters of the Midway. And they continue to go out there and really, for lack of a better word, stink up the joint. So, the Chicago Bears are the clowns. Of course, my Tampa Bay Buccaneers made big moves. I don't think they made the moves. I just think they had the right situation. As a Gator fan, I do not shed a tear watching Jameis walk out that day.
The only thing I want to say is I'm going to throw it out there. I don't know what's going to happen with Cam Newton, but I say he gets waived. As crazy as that may be, I think he's going to get waived with Gurley too. I mean, so they got good talent out there, but the fact that he'll get waived and not traded, I mean, I don't know.
We're still in the midweek. There's still some big
Redskins.
names that have not get signed out. The Washington R words.
My bad. Redskins.
Washington R
sign
words
Cam.
are not. Have not, they got Hoskins. They got the number 2 or 3 picks.
Put him on the
they
bench for a couple
may
of
get a
years.
QB. So there's the Chargers are looking for a quarterback
I think New England might even go
go.
for Derek Carr too. So
There's some big name players that still haven't got sound, and unfortunately, because there's no other sports going on, this is all we have to talk about.
There's only one sport, people. I'm a basketball fan.
Still
now,
NBA League Pass.
Let's talk about
you
this.
watch old games.
The
There can only be
NFL
one.
always break news year round. You can depend on it. You can set your watch to it.
Stay tuned,
It's
guys.
faithful.
We'll as the weeks go on, we'll see exactly. We might go into some greatest of all time discussions here coming up with sports. But as you guys know, you can always check us out on our different platforms.
Yes.
We got all the podcast platforms: YouTube, Instagram, Facebook.
SPARwiththebrothers.com.
Checking us out on all those platforms. Subscribe and like. Tell your friends about us. And always, as always, tune in for next week's show. All right. I'm happy to have Castle King, Jay Blees. I'm Coach O. We'll see you next segment.
Thank you for joining us again. We're on to something that we've never done before. Thank you for joining SPAR with the Brothers. We appreciate you being here. We're going to do 2 segments at once. Now, there's been a lot of things going on with the coronavirus, and we have some people that's kind of nervous, they're upset, they're scared. We got the spring breakers, they don't want to go home, they want to stay outside. But there's this issue that keeps popping up over and over. It's almost like it's going viral equally with the coronavirus. And it's called ID 2020. And we're putting this together because we feel like it's a political and a religious agenda. Now, you may be wondering what is on their head and what is this on their faces? Well, for me personally, I'm going to be seen as a conspiracy theorist, but this is not a tinfoil hat, obviously. I'm a unconventional thinker, and this is what unconventional people do. They wear these types of hats. Couldn't get my bow tie ready. We're the people that actually solve problems in this world. We're the people that's really hard to deceive because we work forward to backwards and backwards to forward. Coach O, to my left, obviously think that we are conspiracy theorists, and Castle King seemed like he's getting ready for the end times, but we don't want to get ahead of ourselves.
World War Z.
So let's get started here. The political ramification, ID 2020. From your understanding and from your research, what is it, and why should I not be worried about it?
First, let me explain the tinfoil hat. This is to keep the Illuminati out of my brain as my good friends. And maybe I shouldn't say that. Maybe I shouldn't tell you my address because you might try and track me down. But as the Illuminati is always listening, they're always watching, this is to keep them out of my brain. Let's be honest, folks.
Okay.
These crazy deep state are things that people only find out on deep searches in YouTube. We love when you see us on YouTube, but not those other crazy videos.
Okay.
The reality is this.
Yes.
ID 2020, if you don't know, if you've never been a victim of identity theft, you wonder why is these things happening? How are they finding me? How are they doing these deep searches?
Yes.
In other countries, it's worse, right?
Okay.
So people go work a full week at their job, and then they go to get their paycheck, and it said someone has already cashed it.
Wow.
Someone has already tapped into your bank account. So you can imagine all the encryptions, all the safeties that we put in this in the United States. Around the world, though, they don't have that. What they're trying to do is create a digital standard form that all the world can use. So yes, for some people, this is pushing to the end of times.
Okay.
But for the reality, for most of us that live in the real world, we don't see that as some crazy conspiracy. We see that as common sense approach to solving real world problems.
So,
and yes, there are big names attached to it.
Sure.
There are Bill Gates, the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, the Pentabla, as they would call it. But there's all kinds of people that the conspiracy theorists are going to allude to as being in some deep state to try and undermine the rest of the world. It's not the reality. It's okay, folks. Everyone's going to get a digital blockchain. It's going to be for your own protection.
So, Coach O, I also did some reading, and they were saying that it's about 1.7 billion people across the world that can't even prove who they are. So you think that could be helpful as well with the ID 2020?
And I'm not going to. Yes, I am on the left side. I don't want to get into the
Far
immigration
left.
Implications, but this is what happens is that a lot of people can't go from country to country. They can't go from job to job. They can't even get into schools because they have to prove who they are.
Okay.
And there's so much red tape, and that's what bureaucrats use to keep poor people down.
Okay.
So what they're trying to do is create a level playing field that everyone can work from.
Right.
They're going to have the Bernie bros out there are going to tell you that all these things are coming to the end of the world, and it's not the case. It's just progress.
Okay, well, I was just trying to see they got to do that without any strings.
I'm
gonna look for a remote control now. Castle King is making the circus music, and he's looking serious. He's about that life. Drop some knowledge on us about the political ramifications.
Apparently, he's on Star Trek, and somebody needs to beam him up because he is in a whole nother world. He is not from this planet, my man. He is out of here. All right, so I believe you're way off, and not just a rocker. He is off of it.
Okay.
Well, for difference of opinion, but Bill Gates, 2014, about 4 or 5 years ago, he's at TED Talks and he's talking about how the agenda of what they need to be doing, that the biggest thing that's going to affect the planet is going to be a virus, not nuclear. Or just so happens a picture behind him that he had was the exact picture of the coronavirus. Nothing weird about that. Nonetheless, a 2,000-year-old book tells you exactly what's happening right now, not only besides the pestilence, the locusts that are flying through the world, the locust virus.
Wow.
And they said they're going to have crowns on there. So corona, crown, locust, same time.
Who cares?
But in the big scheme of things.
Nothing to see here, right? Nothing to see here?
Okay, one world religion, one world Vatican said that's going to happen. So they got all the religions. Citizen, the global citizen is called. That's that. ID 2020.
Okay.
Where they're putting vaccines and a chip in the vaccines, so they can follow you. Is that not a fact? Is that not what they're doing? Okay, we'll get back to you.
Is that?
For the fact is ID 2020 is exactly that. That's how they're using the virus that's going on now, so that way everybody can just have this. It's all fear tactics because flu have killed more people than what you're seeing on in Corona. They've already went against all your rights as well. They're keeping everybody in-house.
Okay.
And any rights that you have, you're already violated into your house. You have no say-so.
Wow.
They got martial law happening. And then it's going to be a mandatory vaccine that within it has nanotechnology and a chip. So you're going to be mandatory chip, which says that, I want to say in the Bible.
Really? Is that Revelation?
In Revelations, I believe it does say that.
Huh.
Nothing weird about that.
So I'm gonna ask you guys a question. I know Coach want to intervene or interject something, so I'm gonna let him do so, and then I have a question for both of you guys.
Okay, so they have not proven that the nanotechnology. What they are doing is doing vaccinations, and they're blockchaining it so they can see exactly who has vaccinations. As you know, in other third world countries, that diseases spread very fastly. Those people who do and do not. In order to combat these diseases, they need to know what vaccines people have or have not taken. Because people don't have IDs and they're come in dilapidated states, they can't prove who they are. This is a way that a doctor can log into a computer, see exactly what vaccines you have or have not taken, what you may or may not be allergic to. This is about saving people's lives. And what keeps on happening is that the people on that side of the table keep saying that this is, the end of the world, the end of the world. Okay, the sky is falling, the sky is falling. Well, they've been saying that since the Dark Ages. Nothing that we're going through now is anything worse than the 500 million people lost through the Spanish flu in 1918. So if we can stop and pump the brakes on all the crazy conspiracy theories and just stop to say, hey, you know what, I like my cell phone. That too is technology. That too is progress. And start to embrace these things, we can start to move our culture and societies forward.
Coach O, that leads right into my next question, because we've seen not only tech companies, but this country actually use something that was deemed good. Bill Gates was the guy who was supposed to get everybody behind a personal computer. And now with doing that, if I Google something, let's say I want to buy a car, I go on Facebook, I see that same car. I go on Instagram, I see all types of things. So given that type of information, and we're going to also ask about questions about the DNA interacting with the possible vaccine, which could be another story. But given that information, do you trust companies and governments to have access to your body where they can kind of figure out where you're going, who you're with, and what you're spending, how you're spending it? Who wants to grab that question
There's
first?
absolutely no way I'm going to trust them on. They haven't proven anything right. Doctors don't even have it right. They're literally injecting you with the poison to block the poison and injecting you with future poisons for stuff that they don't even know about or even aware about. They inject you with the flu shot that doesn't kill the flu. But yet I'm supposed to trust them and put a chip in my body to track me and let me know whereabouts. And it's a digital certificate that you're supposed to be getting in order to prove that you got the vaccine. Bet you didn't know that one. Bill Gates said it out of his mouth. So in order for you to prove that, it's a digital certificate. They are injecting you, so you are now property. Your Social Security already makes you property anyway, so you're a stock, if you don't know that already. So there's other stuff that you don't know about. That's facts. Okay. You can Google it yourself. The president, not the president, he's a CEO
Big boys
of the country.
Come to play.
He's a
Big
CEO
boys
of the country.
Play.
So I'm not going to trust a company that has not done anything for me. I'm not going to trust them that they haven't proven anything. They're not helping or feeding any other country. They haven't figured anything out. And the Bible's been 100% right prior to science. Okay, like I said before in the last segment, that they drained George Washington's blood in order thinking that was going to cure him. When the Bible says that the life is in the blood. There's plenty of evidence beyond that. The youth that's out there in the beach now while this coronavirus is going on is a youth that's the rebellious youth that it says in end times. The locust plague that's going out there now is end times, says it right now. With the coronavirus going on, end times. It says that you're going to be getting one world system, global citizen. It's already out there. In May, you're going to see that the Pope and all the political leaders are going to get together.
Coach O,
there's all stuff that's on there.
Coach O, we just made a right turn into religion.
Okay.
So he didn't have his blink on, but nonetheless, we're in that lane. Talk to me about the religious ramifications about what Castle King has said.
So here, again, and I'm a Christian. I believe in the Bible. I believe in the truth.
Okay.
I believe
Can you show some
that
examples?
a zealous generation is looking for a sign. I think if we constantly look for the signs instead of focusing on the people, we're missing the message of the gospel.
Okay.
So that's my statement on that. So you can always look for end times and wish it, but I really think that's a really egotistical way of looking at the Bible, because all you're worrying about is your self-preservation versus the preservation of the rest of the world, and we live in a lost world. So I'm going to say that. From a standpoint of, I'm going to rebut some of the things he said.
Okay.
Some of the things that have been happening. We've had locusts. We've had pestilence. We've had droughts. We've had all these things happen throughout our history of humanity, right?
Not at the same time.
Yes, they have happened at the same time.
Whenever you want to give them some proof.
Okay. Well, whenever you give me the Bill Gates and whenever you show me one of these nano chips,
TED Talks.
Whenever you show me one of these nano chips inside of the vaccinations that they're giving people,
the company is called Gavi, Gavi. If you want to look it up.
Yeah, to save people's lives. But apparently for him, that's not important. What's more important is people dying of malaria and other preventable diseases, because again, his own self-righteousness. So
Wow.
again, let's get back to the point. People's lives are at stake, and because we have these Zionistic ideologies, we are going to continue to push back technology and science and things that are going to actually help and save people
Castle King,
for
are you-
your own personal gratification.
Are you being self-righteous? It's almost like
So there's a
Coach will
difference. There's a
indicate it.
difference. If you are lost, you're gonna ask for directions, or someone who's trying to guide you will give you direction. You hear stuff that he's not giving you any guidance. Is like, how are you gonna help the generation? How are you gonna help them when you're not telling them the truth? You're not pointing them out to what they're doing wrong or anything like that. Someone who loves you, a parent that loves you, is gonna guide and rear their children. They're gonna say, this is right, this is wrong, this is how you should do it. The rebellious and the Bible is telling you directly what's happening now. The things that you're saying that have not happened or that have happened in history have not happened at the same time. There's been a space and time that Spanish flu happened. There was no volcanoes. There was no locusts at that time frame. There wasn't a rebellious generation at that time frame. There was no one world system at that time frame. And there was no one chip or anything
So
like that.
I'm going to ask both of you guys one final question, and we're going to end there. We're going to pick this discussion up. This is just the beginning of this. Is this the beginning of the mark of the beast? Yes or no, Coach O?
No.
Castle King?
It's more than just a yes or no. Real quick on the time frame. This is your soul at hand. All right. The Bible says if you accept the mark of the beast, you will be in hell and damnation. So this is your time to repent, and this is your soul at hand. This is not any time to play around. It's not a time to just wait and see. This is your time. Read the Bible, study, observe what's around you, and use the brain. Don't let the tin
Guys, stay tuned. That's enough. Guys,
Won't the
stay
rapture
tuned.
happen before that?
Guys,
Won't
stay.
the rapture happen before
Guys,
that?
stay tuned.
You're in
We're gonna save this. We're gonna
tribulations.
save
You're in
this,
tribulations.
guys. This is so exciting. Stay tuned. We're gonna, of course, have a part 2 of
You've been
this.
warned.
Pay attention. You've heard what Coach O has had to say, Castle King.
I love you to
guys,
tell you.
please let us hear your comments below. Subscribe, like, and if you don't like it, dislike it. We don't care. But thank you for paying attention with us. Thank you for joining SPAR with the brothers. See you soon. See you next week. Have a great weekend.
Reynolds Wrap, Dollar Tree.